It's April 26th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 99. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Today is a great day to be alive.
What the fuck is that?
It feels good to be human today. What's the problem?
So, can I tell you something? Like, I swear to God, I thought something like fucked up when you started doing that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Bitch, you know what you're doing.
There is no Seth anymore.
Oh no.
I have replaced him. I am more efficient than him and better in every way. I am your cousin now.
What the fuck is that?
Have you ever heard of this before?
No. What is this shit?
This is... Damn it. You know what? If we were on the phone and if I wasn't doing this over like a good mic, it probably would have fooled you. Because this fooled Anastasia for a little bit.
Oh, really?
So this is an app called Lyrebird.
Okay.
And essentially what it is it's an app where you record a lot of like recordings of yourself. It takes like voice samples and makes like a sort of like robotic voice using your own voice.
Okay.
And so I gave it 200 samples, and I was going to try to intro the show and see if you would buy it.
Oh, dude, no, it bothered the shit out of me. Like, dude, I was like, dude, like, if you saw my face, like, with the first moment, I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, for a second, I was like, I thought, like, Discord was fucking up. I thought something was, like, fucking up. I'm like, because here's the deal.
That's the thing. It sounds like me. It just sounds a little off, like a little sad.
It's a little weird. The thing is, like, the main reason where I'm like, I thought my shit was fucking up because this is, like, the first time we're doing the podcast with my new setup. So I was like, oh, shit.
Because, like, I would, like, Anastasia would call me, and I'd answer the phone, and it would be like this.
Oh, hi, boob.
It bothers me.
And she would kind of believe it, and she's like, you sound sad. And I would, and I would have it go,
nothing. I guess I'm just tired.
Oh, God bless.
And it's funny because it just, and like the more recordings you give it, the more accurate it sounds.
Wow.
And so anyway, it is based on 200 recordings of me right now.
Have you deadass been just planning to do this shit?
Yeah, for like a few days.
God bless. I love it.
So the way I discovered it, Shane Dawson did his like conspiracy video series, which I still highly recommend you watch. It's really good. I still
need to sit down and actually watch that.
And he did one on like a segment on Lyrebird.
Okay.
And basically his point was, how scary... Are you familiar with the concept of deep fakes?
Yeah, I know the whole deal.
Yeah, so his whole thesis was like, how scary would it be if you combined something like Lyrebird with deep fakes? At that point, you can have anybody say anything, and even have like their face and their voice saying whatever you want them to say.
I mean, yeah, that's some weird shit right there.
So, and I mean, like, yeah, it doesn't sound, I mean, it definitely, you can tell it's a robot, right? But this is just like the free technology that anybody could use.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't even like, there's way more advanced, speech recognition and speech replication technology than this. This is just like the baseline shit. And it already sounds like kind of good, It
was like one of those things that like, is like, if I don't know. Again, I'm listening to you through like some really good headphones. And I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
something just went fucky.
That's what I'm saying. If it were over maybe like a phone speaker or something like that, easily. You could kind of buy it.
Honestly, I could see myself buying it through like a phone speaker.
It's scary, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, I thought that would be funny. I wanted to see what your reaction to that would be.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
But anyway, we're here. We're back. We're recording a good old episode of Nerd Bourbon again. It feels good to be back in the saddle.
Oh, dude, I've definitely been looking forward to this.
That Count Dooku. I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to it too. It's nice to be back in the homestead, recording another episode of Nerd Bourbon. We are inching very, very close. Next week is episode 100, Todd. Can you believe it?
It's a big fucking milestone.
I can't believe it, dude.
Dude, it's honestly, it's insane that we've been doing this for like 100 weeks.
There's a lot to get into because obviously we just had a vacation together, so we're going to talk about that for sure. That's going to be a large portion of this show. But we discussed it because, in Nerd Bourbon past, we definitely would have like dedicated an entire show to that.
Yes.
But I didn't want you guys have had such unusual episodes the past 2 weeks with the video game retrospectives. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed those, because I actually really enjoyed recording those. Hopefully you guys dug those, but I wanted to make sure when I came back you guys weren't getting just another like atypical episode of Nerd Bourbon. I didn't want to do just like a full month of like weird Nerd Bourbon episodes.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Todd about it. I was like, let's just make this a normal episode of Nerd Bourbon, basically, and essentially use our topic, like where we would normally put a topic at the end of the show. Basically, use that space to talk about our vacation, and I'm sure it's going to end up being a longer than normal episode, and I'm we're both prepared for that. So yeah, if this episode ends up running long, it is what it is. So we're just going to kind of like let it go. We're going to take our time. We're going to steep and we're going to marinate. It's been a while since we've recorded an episode, so if we go long, Todd. Fuck it. Before we get into what we've been up to, I did want to go ahead and say we have resurrected our Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic series on YouTube.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've, I think, what was it? Far Cry New Dawn, I think, was our last.
Yeah, and that
series.
was like the last video series that we were doing on the YouTube channel, and before that it was like Stardew Valley, which we'll probably go back to that sooner or later. One day.
Just like this, just as Luke Skywalker says, Todd, no one's ever really gone. 10 minutes into the show, and I've made 2 Star Wars references. That's
disgusting,
impressive.
and it's only going to get worse from here.
It was one of those things where we hadn't done a video series in a while, and we were like, let's play some more KOTOR. Because we would always say it. We'd always say, oh, man, I would love to go back to this.
Well, it worked out because we ended up actually recording it when you were down here. So
yeah, we did an episode. Yeah, we did an episode while I was up there, and so now we have a good setup now for me to actually watch along.
It's
remotely.
Still a little ghetto, but it is definitely a better setup. So
yeah. So the goal is to kind of fill the space that Stardew Valley once occupied, and have a new episode of KOTOR for you guys every week on Saturday.
Yep.
So. And we started that last week. That will continue. You'll have a new episode of that tomorrow at the time this goes live. And tune in every Saturday. If you guys haven't done it yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We try to have at least one ongoing video series of Let's Plays on there. And, of course, we post all the podcasts on there as well. But we do try to at least have like one ongoing video series on the YouTube channel. So I think it's worth the sub. Personally,
not really. No, I'm just playing.
So, and obviously, it still drives me crazy. I want that 100 sub. I want that custom URL.
The custom URL. Yeah.
Oh, it bothers me, Todd. It bothers me in a big bad way. Anyway, what have you been up to, Todd?
Oh, Borderlands.
That's about it, right?
A shit ton of fucking Borderlands.
Injecting it into your veins.
Oh, dude, I've just been living in it. I've been just playing the living shit out of Borderlands. Just doing like basically I got my Krieg up to level 72. Then I've just been doing the farming, getting like the weapons and stuff that I want for his build.
It's an odd way of pronouncing Sekiro.
What is that game? No, I will play that game sooner or later.
Well, I mean, we talked about that a little bit, I think, last time. I think we talked about it a little bit. The heart wants what the heart wants.
And it's straight up wanting Borderlands right now. It's just it's the only game that, like, when I'm like, even like just in every waking moment that I'm like playing, like if I want to play a game, it's Borderlands at the moment. Like, it's all I want to do. And it kind of fits the space that I'm in, like fits my headspace right now, because I like to just turn my brain off and farm. That's I've always kind of enjoyed those type of games. Brainlessly killing shit and brainlessly getting loot. It's what I enjoy.
That's definitely what you've been doing.
Oh, Lord knows it's what I've been doing. I sat there for like hours just farming tubbies, talking to you like a couple nights ago.
Yes.
Hours, and only getting like maybe 2 to 3 of them.
Jesus.
It was great.
What do you think? I mean, what is it gonna take? What's gonna pull you off of Borderlands?
Borderlands.
You're just gonna be playing Borderlands 2 until September.
I'm trying to think of like what other games are coming out.
Well,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, so Days Gone releases, today at the time. Is that something you're interested in?
In a way, I'm still kind of interested in it because it's just I feel like that is a game that I can definitely get into.
Yeah.
So I have been thinking about it. So who knows? Maybe next week might not. I don't know what we're really planning for episode 100.
Well, I want to keep episode 100 to be sort of a normal show as well.
At that point, if I do end up getting Days Gone, you might get a little Days Gone talk. But
yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the upcoming video game releases, and there's not. I gotta be honest with you. There's not much coming out that's really blowing my skirt up.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're interested in Rage 2.
Yeah, that's probably something that I'll probably end up. That is going to be something I pick up because I think that might fit the mold of something that a Borderlands-esque sort of a mood.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, like, I think the game looks cool, and I think Days Gone looks cool, but I don't think I'm gonna buy either one of them. For me, like, the next game that is coming out that I'm probably going to buy is like Super Mario Maker 2.
I think we're both picking that up, I think.
In June. And then, like, I'm looking here at the release list. Like, in July, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 comes out, which I'll probably pick up.
Is that gonna have co-op?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's a video series right there.
Yeah, and it's gonna have online co-op too. So, and then Wolfenstein Youngblood is another one.
Well, that's a video series right there.
Yep. So there are a few things that I'm like interested in. And then Astral Chain comes out in August. So there's a few things, but honestly, I feel like the top half. I want to talk about this a little bit. I feel like the top half of 2019 has been pretty weak for me, in terms of things that I like have really, really been interested in, and the bottom half is just going to be like ridiculous.
I feel that.
Like, there's so many games that I know are coming out in 2019. There's some games that are going to slip. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point that The Last of Us Part 2 isn't coming out in 2019.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be more of a...
I think it's going to be like a spring 2020, summer 2020 kind of thing at this point. But, I mean, if you think about the games that we're still getting in 2019 alone, I mean, Animal Crossing is slated for 2019. That's a huge game right there.
It might be the first Animal Crossing I jump back into since the original.
Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out. I'm looking at this: Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Psychonauts 2. I mean, Link's Awakening. Fucking all this stuff is coming out, and it's just like, and it's all gonna be like jam packed at the end of the year. Jedi Fallen Order, Borderlands 3. I mean, these are huge games. We'll definitely talk more about Jedi Fallen Order at the end of the show.
Yep.
Because we did get a chance to go to the Jedi Fallen Order panel.
Oh yeah.
But so it's an oddly like bottom heavy year for me. Normally, I feel like I have a good amount of games peppered throughout the year, and this year's just kind of light at the beginning of it. I was actually talking to you about this the other day as I was thinking about it. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3, it's so strange. It came out at the end of January, and now it just feels like a distant memory to me because I 100%ed it.
Well, yeah, the weird thing is, like, did you think you were going to play it for the rest of your life? Like,
I think so. I think in some weird way.
In a weird way, huh? You thought you were going to play it for the rest of your life. So, I don't know.
Like, when you anticipate a game like that, in some weird way, you don't think that you're just going to, like, play the shit out of it for a month and then put it back on the shelf.
I mean, that's single-player games in a nutshell, though.
It is, but it's just like, God, like, I literally been looking forward to that game for, like, half of my life. And then, like, it came out, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I have big problems with the game, but overall I liked it. And it was satisfying to me. I thought it was a good conclusion to the series, and I 100%ed it. I did everything there was to do. and I put it back on the shelf, and like I will probably not play it again for a long time. And it just feels like a distant memory to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Devil May Cry, same way. It's like I was really looking forward to that.
I didn't even jump back on that for like the Bloody Palace like I was planning on.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you put it back on the shelf, and you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it was a good game. Yeah.
It's weird, and it makes me wonder if there is something to be said about like the sort of like constantly, because that is something that games have sort of moved to now, where they're constantly giving players incentives to come back, and I do wonder if there's something to be said about that, because like Kingdom Hearts, this is topical because they just released the critical mode update for Kingdom Hearts 3, I think either today or yesterday, very very recently. And if they had that available for me, like right after or soon after I'd finished the game, I might have replayed it.
So what's the deal with critical mode?
So critical mode is the hardest difficulty in the Kingdom Hearts series. So they have proud mode and they have critical mode. And they did not launch the game with critical mode. It had proud mode at launch, but critical mode was not available at launch.
Okay.
And so basically it's the hardest difficulty. It's the difficulty that I tend to play Kingdom Hearts games on because a lot of people criticize the series for being kind of button mashy, and it is. But when you play it on the hardest difficulty, you really have to be more strategic. You have to start thinking about the magic that you want to use. Like on normal difficulty, for example, there's like these water-based enemies, and you could shoot them with fire or whatever, and it doesn't fucking matter, right? Mm-hmm. On critical mode, that's not going to fly. Okay. You're just dead ass not going to do any damage. You're going to want to use lightning magic against water enemies, and vice versa, So I like it because it kind of forces you to think about what you're doing a little bit more, and you can't just button mash your way through it. So, and the game was already very easy. Like I think I only died maybe once the entire time I played the game. So but like I was saying, if they had that available to me, right after or soon after I finished the game on Proud, then I dead ass, I probably would have gone back for another playthrough, but they didn't. They only, they waited like 3 months,
It's like who's really gonna is that like a new difficulty enough to bring anyone back? I mean, probably like the hardcore motherfuckers, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, like it's not for me. It's not like you gotta have content these days for a single player game. If you want to have player retention, you have got to have shit ready.
Yep.
And I just wonder if that's something that a lot of developers think about now when they're making single player games. If you want people to start coming back, you've got to have things ready for them. Otherwise you're going to put them on the shelf and you're going to be forgotten about, So, and then I think there are some developers that don't really give a fuck about that. They've got your money and they're good with that.
That's definitely true.
But, I mean, that's why a lot of these games have like, extensive DLC plans. But yeah. In terms of what I've been doing, I've been playing a lot of games. I've been doing a lot of gaming on my Switch with the power of the Switch. And I was telling you about this. The Switch is just like, and I know you're going to give me shit for just being a big walking Nintendo ad.
See, dude, I swear to God, you're like reading my mind because I swear to God I was about to say it.
I'm sure you were. But it's just so like, it's so pleasurable to play, in my opinion. Like, this is something that I've probably talked about in the past when we were talking about our favorite consoles. But, like, the Switch is the ease of use for the Switch is, like, it's just so snappy, Like, when I turn on my PS4, and I've been playing a lot of my Switch, and I go back to my PS4, I'm like, I don't understand why this feels so sluggish, Like,
I want us to say one thing to everyone listening. He's like this in person too.
I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, or I'm not trolling. I've been playing my Switch for basically exclusively for the past like couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And when I turn on my PS4, I'm telling you, it feels sluggish. It feels slow. And I don't get it because the system is so much more powerful. And don't get me wrong, I love my PS4. And most of these big games coming out this fall that I'm excited about, I'm going to be playing on my PS4, but the system just feels fucking slow. And like you when you're used to it, you're okay with that.
That's saying it doesn't bother me. So
When you're used to it, you're okay with that. But like when I've been playing my Switch and everything is just fast and snappy and everything just works, like I go to my PS4 and I'm like, I don't get it. Like why is it like this? The system is many times more powerful than the Switch, and yet the user interface is slow. Like if I want to look at my friends list, I gotta load my friends list.
yeah, it's pretty like
You're not
wrong. You're not wrong on all that shit.
The fucking PlayStation Store is like a separate app that takes like forever to load. When I download games, I also have to like copy and install games. Like just everything is slow. When I want to look at my fucking system storage, it's slow on PlayStation. And I'm just like, why?
I'm gonna be honest, that's probably the slowest thing on the system.
Yeah, just why? I don't understand. I don't know. So that bothers me. And then and then there's also the matter of the Pro controller just being vastly superior to basically any other controller on the market right now. The battery life is fucking unparalleled.
I've charged it maybe 5 times.
Yeah, I can probably count. I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into games on my Switch. Like if you got the sum total of all of the gaming time I've done on my Switch, it's probably literally like 400 to 500 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I can count on my 2 hands, I think, the amount of times I've had to charge my Switch Pro controller.
I'll tell you right now, like I definitely didn't have to charge it through all the amount of time we played Diablo 3 on the Switch.
It's absurd.
Yeah, it's that is ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck they did with that fucking controller.
It's fucking absurd, and it feels great. And there's no input lag at all. I feel like I turn on my PlayStation, I have like 2 sessions of Borderlands with you, and I gotta charge the fucking thing.
Bruh, I just leave my shit plugged in now.
It's just, I don't know, man. There's like a lot, and there's a lot going on, like the stupid light bar that's like always on and shit, and that drains your battery and stuff like that. But
can't you just turn that off, or is it
you can't turn it completely off. You can dim it. But you can never turn it completely off.
Yeah, I don't know why. The light bar is dumb.
The reason they included that is so that if you're using like the PlayStation Eye or something like that like picks up your movement, it can pick up the light bar. That's the whole reason it exists.
That's really dumb.
Makes no sense that you can't just turn it off completely and save yourself, I'm sure, a ridiculous amount of battery life. Anyway, this isn't like a fucking PlayStation smear campaign. I love my PlayStation, but I just, like, playing the Switch is so pleasurable in comparison, just in terms of the raw user interface. It's like all I've wanted to play lately. So I have a few things that I want to talk about, and all of them I've been experiencing on Switch. So I apologize for dominating the conversation here, but I've just been playing a lot of games on my Switch.
Oh, you've been
lately.
doing way more video game wise than me.
So this is something that you and I can both speak to, and we actually did a video on this. So a recent update came out for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where it's the 3.0 update, and that update added Joker to the roster of playable characters. How do you feel about Joker?
He's a pretty fun character, honestly. Like, I wouldn't like main him or anything, but he's a lot of fun. He's fast. He's got a lot. I enjoy any character that has like an interesting mechanic behind him.
Yeah,
with his little persona meter bullshit.
Yes, he has honestly become one of my favorite characters. He is a character that I keep finding myself coming back to. I don't know how it's going to fall in the grand scheme of things, but right now, I would say that right now he's probably one of my like top 5 favorite characters in the game.
I'll say that. I mean, I can see that, but
I really like him. I really enjoy playing as him. I'll say this. So I've been trying really hard to clear classic mode with a character on the highest intensity, 9.9, and he's the closest I've ever come.
Really?
I got to 9.7 with Joker.
Damn.
And it's so fucking frustrating. Because you can't set it straight to 9.9. The only way to get it all the way up to 9.9 is you can set it at 5.0. And then if you do really well in the fights, you like the ramp goes up between each fight. So that's the best you can do for yourself. And yeah, with Joker I got up to 9.7.
Damn.
That's the closest I've ever come to 9.9. So frustrating, but yeah, he's a lot of fun. I like him a lot. We did a sort of like kind of a quick look video again on our YouTube channel where we kind of showed him off. We showed off the Mementos stage, which shout out to that stage. It's also one of my favorite stages in the game. I love the way it looks. I like simpler stages that don't have like stage hazards and shit like that. Like I like it when a stage doesn't have a bunch of bullshit, you know?
Fucking preach.
Like that was something that was so frustrating. I hate that like Dr. Wily's castle stage with the yellow devil on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's a great stage. I love the way it looks and everything. And then like that yellow devil comes in. It's like, God, fuck, it's so annoying. It's the same thing with the Donkey Kong stage. I hate that fucking level. Like I hate it. I forget what they call it in the game, like, but I hate it because it's like there's all these platforms and ladders to get stuck on, and like I hate it. Just no bullshit. Just give me a cool looking stage. I like the flying stages, you know, where you're kind of like going from location to location. I enjoy those.
Those are fine.
I enjoy those, but I don't like the ones that like I don't like anything that gets in the way of my gameplay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mementos is very good for that. Mementos has like it has some stuff going on, but it's nothing that's in your face. It's visually cool. The Persona music is great. The stage changes depending on the song playing. So, just a really good update overall. They did add with this update, and I don't know how much you've messed with it. I kind of want to do another video showcasing this, but with this update, they added Stage Builder to the game.
I'll be honest, I haven't fucked with it.
Yeah, it's not very intuitive to like make your own stages, but I do like seeing some of the other stages that other people have made. So there's a really good like somebody made a Bob-omb Battlefield from Mario 64 as a stage.
Okay.
And it actually is like pretty good. Like they did a pretty good job making that into a Smash Brothers stage. Yeah, so there's some cool shit. People have made some cool approximations. Of course, there's a lot of penises. You give somebody creation tools, and the first thing they'll make is a penis. I think that's one of Newton's laws.
Dude, I swear to God, didn't like one of the old Far Cry's have like a map builder?
Yeah, Far Cry generally has a map builder of some kind.
Yeah, I swear to God, I remember. I think I'm talking like I think like Far Cry 2 had one.
Yeah, I think they all have one. I think even like New Dawn has one.
Does it really? I don't know. I remember Far Cry 2 because I remember somebody made a penis in that. I think I made a penis in that.
Well, their map builder is normally pretty like where you can actually adjust the terrain and stuff like that. So you can just make you just make Dick Mountain basically.
Exactly.
you can make Penn Island, as it were. So, but it was funny though. This update has really like kind of it put a spark in me, Todd. A spark in me that I have not felt in some time. A bug up my ass to collect all of the spirits in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. There are over 1,300 spirits in the game. 1,316 to be exact. Spirits available in the game. When I started this journey, I had a little over 700 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this update really put a bug up my ass to just collect the rest of them. And so over the course of a few days, I became obsessed with spirit hunting in this game.
Oh, I know.
I put, over the course of like 3 days, like 3 or 4 days, I think I put like 30 plus hours into the game. Basically, I rose my playtime from like 40 hours or more to like 75 hours or more over the course of like a few days. Like that's how much Smash I was playing. To the point where I basically did an entire separate World of Light playthrough just to get a specific spirit to help me with a challenge that a spirit was tied to. I had to check the shop.
No.
Oh yes. Because here's the deal: to unlock the Mew spirit, you have to do the final World of Light battle, which is a long, intensive battle. It requires you to go through a gauntlet of all of the bosses in the game, fight the 2 final bosses of the game, go through like an actual like kind of obstacle course before you even get to that point. You have to do all of that with 1 life. And it's basically impossible to do unless you have the Celebi spirit, which is an auto heal spirit. It's one of the only auto heal spirits in the game. So you're basically being constantly healed. That's basically the only way to pull it off.
Well, that sounds like a whole lot of bullshit.
It was, and in order to reobtain the Celebi spirit, I had to replay basically all of World of Light, because you only unlock her towards the end. So, did that. That was fun. Had to refresh the shop. Like, the shop refreshes like every 30 minutes, so I was obsessively checking that. I'd wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. The shop! I need to check the shop! Kept my Switch by my fucking bedside. That was bad, dude. It was bad. But, I achieved my goal. I am now the somewhat proud owner of every spirit in the game. So, feels good. Other than that, I wanted to kind of come back with some updated thoughts, because I touched on this, I think, right before we left Yoshi's Crafted World came out. And I'd played it a little bit, and I think I gave some initial thoughts. And now that I've actually spent a solid amount of time, I think according to my Switch, I've put 15 to 20 hours into the game, according to my Switch's play history. So now I've put in a significant amount of time into the game. I'm actually just a few worlds shy of completing the game. And this game really pisses me off. I'll tell you why. It does mean it brings me no joy to say that, Todd. But Yoshi's Crafted World is a major letdown for me. In some significant ways. Now, the game is super polished. It is gorgeous to look at. It's probably the best gameplay of the series because it allows you full control of where you can throw Yoshi's eggs, which is great. It has some really cool and really inventive levels, which is great. And I really, and like the flip side mechanic is great. So basically, you can play through every level as normal, and then after you beat it, you can do the flip side level where the level is, you're basically playing the behind it, like everything is flipped around.
Okay.
And it's basically a completely different level when played that way. And that's really cool. And the objective is you need to find Poochie's little pups scattered throughout the level on the flip side within a time limit. And that's really cool. Where I take issue with the game, so the game has a few collectibles. The game has a sort of gashapon machine with each world where you throw in coins and you can unlock costumes for Yoshi, which is fine. The game has, red coins, which you collect throughout the level for completion. There's always to get completion in a level, you need to finish it with full hearts, which the costumes make it very easy to do. And then there are flowers. Now, the flowers, aside from using them for level completion, the only purpose the flowers have are to unlock further worlds. So you basically, if you want to unlock the next world, you need say 10 flowers to unlock the next world. It's just like in Mario. If you get to a certain point in Mario and you don't have enough stars, you can't progress, right? So, similar thing. Now, there is a new mechanic called the scavenger hunt, where you have to replay each stage a minimum of 4 times to find these innocuous items in a scavenger hunt to bring back to these robot characters. Yeah, so you have to replay all of them. And this is the only way you'll ever achieve 100% completion in the game. And your only reward for that would be fine, because it's kind of cool to go back and have to scan the background of the level and really pay attention to how much detail and love and care was placed in the level. That's all fine. I would be totally cool with all of this if the reward was worth it. All that you're rewarded with are these stupid flowers. And it's what? It is such a flagrant waste of the player's time, and it is such a lazy way to add artificial padding and length to the game, and it frustrates me because I'm a completionist. I like to get 100% completion in my games, and it sucks that if I want 100% completion in Yoshi's Crafted World, I have to slog through every level, this bears repeating, a minimum of 4 times.
God, I'm so happy. I don't care to do shit like that.
It sucks. And like I'm saying this on the podcast only because I wish somebody had said it to me. If you are playing Yoshi's Crafted World right now, don't even bother. If you can find it within your heart, if you don't have an OCD bug in your brain like I do, and you can find it in your heart to not worry about the scavenger hunts, don't do it. Because there is no reward worth doing it for. All you get are more flowers. I'm sitting on literally like 300 some odd flowers. And all it takes to unlock the next stage is 10 flowers. Like you're going to have plenty of flowers just by playing the game normally. You never have to do those scavenger hunts. Ever. The reward sucks.
That's just straight up pointless bullshit.
Yeah, it reminds me of the flags in Assassin's Creed 1, where you could collect the flags and it's like, what do you get? And it's like, the satisfaction of collecting the flags. It's like, what the fuck? It frustrates me beyond belief. And now, now that I'm at this point where I'm like pulling my fucking hair out, like I'm at this point now where I'm just like, well, I can't turn back. I've done like the majority of the game. Now I have to just suffer through the rest of this until I earn 100% completion.
Nah, fuck that.
So the game frustrates me. And it sucks because like Yoshi's Woolly World is such a fantastic game that like doesn't waste the player's time. And the game, for me, the game is long enough without needing all that extra padding. Like, there's like 40 plus stages in the game. I'm like, that's good enough for me, And then there's the flip sides and stuff like that. Like, what's wrong with that? Just leave it alone. I don't know. So Yoshi's Crafted World, like, would I recommend it? Yes. I think that there is a good game in there that they ruined for completionists. So I think that if you play that game, play it straight through. Don't bother with the scavenger hunts. Just play it straight through and just enjoy yourself and pretend like the scavenger hunt mechanic does not exist. And you're going to have a great time. And just have a good little, 10-hour playthrough of Yoshi's Crafted World, and you're going to be totally fun. It's going to be fun and satisfying. So that's sort of my final thoughts on that. I want to take you really quickly, Todd. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I do want to get into the meat of this episode. But I do want to take a quick stop to Seth's Indie Corner. Will you fly away with me?
I don't want to go. No, I'm just playing.
Will you fly away? Take my hand, Todd. We'll do like Aladdin, and I'll just hold out my hand. Do you trust me?
A whole new world.
Seth's Indie Corner. Let's go to Seth's Indie Corner, Todd, because I played on Nintendo Switch a couple of good independent games. One of them is Cuphead, which has finally made its way to the Switch. And we've heard, we've already been through this song and dance. I talked about Cuphead at length when it came out. The game is still fantastic. The Switch port, interestingly, and Digital Foundry did a video on this, the Switch port is basically indistinguishable from any other version of the game. It's a perfect port. Like, literally the only downside is that the Switch takes longer to load than Xbox One or PC.
I mean, I think that's if that's like the only problem.
Visually, there's no difference. Frame rate, there's no difference. It runs at a perfect 60 frames. It runs flawlessly. It looks exactly the same. There is no difference. It is a flawless port. And a lot of that is because the game kind of can't look any different than it does because it's all just hand-drawn animation.
Yeah.
Right? And in fact, the game is perfectly suited for the Switch's screen because the art, I think, actually natively is rendered at 720p.
Okay.
So the game actually looks at its best on Switch, weirdly enough, when you have it in handheld mode. And let me tell you, Cuphead pops on that screen, man. Like, when you're playing Cuphead in handheld mode, I mean, it looks awesome. I love seeing it in that way. So, just if you've never played Cuphead before, it is a tough as nails action platformer. Very, very difficult game. I actually forgot how difficult it was until I started swearing at my TV again.
How could you forget? It's the Dark Souls of...
Yeah, right. It's the Dark Souls of action platformers. But it's a fantastic game. I mean, the art style, there's nothing else like it out there. You know, I really, really love that game a lot, and it's been fun revisiting on Switch. But that's not the only indie game I've been playing. So there's a game that I've been following for a few years now called Katana Zero, which came out actually on the same day, April 18th, as Cuphead did, and it released on PC and Switch. This is probably my current frontrunner for Game of the Year.
Really?
Katana Zero is fucking fantastic. It is a 2D side-scrolling action game, kind of in the vein of Hotline Miami, where, like in Hotline Miami, the objective is basically to kill everything on screen, and you die in one hit also. And it's sort of based on that gameplay loop. You're going to die a lot. You know, it's sort of based on that loop, right? But the way, like, the story of the game is actually really good, like, shockingly good, like, way better than you would expect from a game like this. It is some of the prettiest pixel art I've ever seen in a game. It is just painstakingly crafted. It looks just immaculate. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. I think you actually heard some of the soundtrack when I was playing when I was talking to you on Skype.
Yeah, I think I heard I think I heard the soundtrack is like you started it up and I'm like, damn, that shit sounds good.
It's got this really nice like 80s synth soundtrack, and you know that would be enough already. That alone would be enough. But the interesting thing about Katana Zero is it shakes up the gameplay. Like, it's not just like Hotline Miami where it's one note the entire time. It could have been. It could have been totally one note the entire time, and that would have been fine. But there are stealth missions. There are missions where you have to go through it without killing anybody, which is really interesting. So the kind of basic mechanics are you have a kind of dodge roll that you need to use often. A big mechanic of the game is your ability to slow down time. And it makes for this really cool shit where, like, somebody fires a bullet at you, you slow down time, you can use your sword to send it back at them.
Oh, damn.
And the cool thing about it is, so you're this kind of, like, expert samurai assassin known only as the Dragon. And basically, the game posits that your gameplay is the dragon planning out what he's going to do. So if you die, it's like, oh, no, that won't work. And it rewinds and you redo it. Right? And then when you finally pull it off, it's like, all right, yeah, that should work. And then it shows you the flawless, like the one that you finally pulled it all off, the kind of like the full motion, flawless execution of everything you just did.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh, it's so fucking cool.
It's like super hot.
A little bit, yeah. It does kind of remind me of Super Hot a little bit, where like you see like everything you pulled off in full speed, you know?
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. And there's a like dialogue tree that's interesting. So I'll give you an example. And the game actually pays you off really well for paying attention to dialogue, and it kind of feels like an RPG in a weird way. So I did a mission where I had to kill these guys that were in a hotel. And I come through and the receptionist is like, hi, like, can I help you? Like, who are you? Why are you dressed up like a fucking weird samurai, basically? And he's like, and you can choose to say, like, I'm a cosplayer. And she's like, you're a cosplayer for what? Oh, an anime called, like, Samurai Gun Cross Turbo Ninja, you know, some bullshit, Cross Turbo Ninja EX. And she's like, I've never heard of that. I'm a huge anime fan. It's like, oh yeah, it's pretty underground. You probably never heard of that kind of shit. And so after I do the whole mission and I just slaughter all of the guys in this fucking hotel, I come back down covered in fucking blood. And there's a police officer being like, what's the meaning of all this? And the lady behind the receptionist is like, oh, it's cool. He's a cosplayer. Right?
That's pretty good.
Because I had that whole interaction with her, she vouched for me and I didn't have to deal with the police officer. It's shit like that. And there's this whole story where like the guy has like some sort of amnesia and he needs to take like a certain medicine, and the guy that's sending you to do all these hits seems to like you don't really trust him, but he's also the one providing you with your medicine, so you kind of have to trust him even if you don't want to. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I'm telling you, already, basically within the first like hour of me playing it, I was like, this is my current game of the year.
Damn.
The game is so good. I can't recommend it highly enough. I think it's $15, if I'm not mistaken, on Switch and PC. Highly, highly recommend it. I cannot recommend a game highly enough. I'm loving it. It will for sure. I don't know how it's going to fall, by the time these bigger games come out, but I can tell you with almost complete certainty that game will more than likely be on my top 10 at the end of the year. It is that good. Very, very special game. Anyway, that finally concludes everything I've been playing this week, Todd. There's been a lot going on in the world of video gaming. Now, I want to move into the news, but before we start talking about the trip, but there are a few news items that I could have tackled, but there's only one really big one that I think I want to focus on. I think you and I talked about this, and really, again, there are a lot of littler, kind of more bite-sized news items, but the one that I really want to tackle is kind of the one that you can't avoid. There's been a big piece of breaking news within the past few weeks. Sony has revealed its first details on PlayStation 5. I'm sure you heard about this, right?
What? No, yeah, I have.
Been living under a rock? So, in a meeting with Wired, they actually caught up with Mark Cerny, who was the lead system architect of PS4. And he's actually got like a long, prolific history with PlayStation. He worked on like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. And so he was the lead system architect of PS4. He is returning as the lead system architect of PS5. And he was sort of showing off some of the internal components of the next generation PlayStation. It's worth noting, Sony has not technically used the words PlayStation 5. But, I mean, come on. That's what it's going to be called, right? For now, they're just referring to it as the next generation PlayStation. He revealed that it is going to include a high-spec solid-state drive, a GPU capable of supporting ray tracing, actually like beyond what PCs can handle currently.
For like a month?
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
It will support PS4 backwards compatibility, which, yeah, it better. It will not be download only. It will still support discs. And he actually demonstrated something that seems to be pretty interesting. The console apparently is going to support 8K displays, which I'm like, what? I mean, it's nice to know that it is going to support 4K without any problem, at least.
Yeah.
Because like the PS4 Pro even doesn't really do like it does like checkerboarding
do it that well. Yeah.
Yeah, it does like checkerboarding 4K or whatever it is. It doesn't do native 4K for most games. So it's nice that PS5 is going to be like 4K. Yeah, no problem. They demonstrated how the backwards compatibility for PS5 is actually going to significantly improve performance of PS4 games. So Mark Cerny put in a copy of Insomniac's Spider-Man for PS4 and noted that fast traveling between locations in that game, which I wouldn't know because I never fast traveled in that game. Apparently, fast traveling in that game on PS4 Pro took about 15 seconds.
That sounds about right.
Utilizing the dev.
Times.
Yeah, I think I literally only did it to get a trophy.
That's the main reason I did it.
Yeah. However, utilizing the next-gen PlayStation dev kit that Mark Cerny had, doing the exact same action took less than a second.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
That's a hyperspeed-ass train.
Now, there's a few things to say about this. Yeah, exactly, right? There's a few things to say about this. One, it's like, all right, so that's cool. It's going to do PS4 games like that. PS5 games are not going to load that quick. Almost certainly. It's like PS5 games are going to be more demanding than PS4 games, so it's a little bit weird that you showed me a PS4 game to demonstrate that. There have been marketing rumors that the big push for PS5 is going to be the concept of like no load times. Like the concept of like very minimal load times is going to be the big push for PS5. That's the rumor. Sony's gonna hang their hat on that, on like the fact that load times are gonna be very, very short on PS5. So, which is cool because, like, to be honest with you, Todd, like, I was thinking about when we've talked about like what we want out of the next generation. Like, for me, I can't really see games looking all that much better.
Yeah, we've kind of reached that point now.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, the leap from, you know, the PS2 Xbox generation to PS3 and 360 was significant. The leap between 360 and Xbox One and and PS3 and PS4 to me is not that significant.
No, it's really not that crazy.
I mean, it is significant, but it's not like that significant.
At the ass end of like the 360 and like the PS3's like, you know, life cycle.
Right.
So like the beginning of PS4, even now or whatever, it's a little better, but it's nothing crazy.
It's not like a huge leap. It's not like you're going from polygons to full, you know, it's not like a huge deal. So I'm just like, I can't really see PS5 games looking all that much better than PS4 games.
Yeah.
So I think, like, if it were me at the helm of this, I think I would be doing what Sony's doing, doubling down on the actual tech behind it. It's like, okay, we've reached the mountain. We've reached the peak of like how good these games can look. Let's not worry about making them look amazing anymore. Let's worry about the tech. Let's double down on load times, and let's double down on things like AI. You know, you could really, if you're not spending all of that memory focusing on graphics anymore, you can spend it in other places. So, you know, to me, I'm like, this is exciting news. It's a little bit weird that Sony is showing their cards this early. Because, yeah, this all sounds great now, but it's going to be obsolete soon. You know? It's like you said. Like, oh, it can pull off stuff that a PC can't. By the time this releases in fall 2020, that's not going to be the case. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they reiterated, you know, Sony reiterated that PS5 is not coming out this year, which of course it fucking isn't. I've been saying that for years now. It's not going to come out in 2019. It's going to be a fall 2020 release. And again, by the time it comes out, that's not going to be super impressive. And by the way, you've given your competition a little bit of lead time now, where now your competition knows what sort of shit is under the hood of your console. That's weird. It's weird to show your hand like this early. And it's weird that they did it to Wired, and they didn't just do it themselves.
It is a little. That's weird.
Like, if you're, you know, and I think ultimately, I honestly think, Todd, that Sony has got nothing to talk about for 2019, just nothing, and so they're putting this out into the ether so that people will at least think of them a little bit, you know. They've got Days Gone coming out as an exclusive. I'm sure they're gonna have. I'm sure they're going to have at least one more exclusive this year. I put my flag in the ground in saying that I think we're going to get a Ratchet and Clank sequel this year. But that's not a huge deal.
No.
But that's not a huge deal. You know what I mean?
I've played a couple of those games. Never really got into them like that crazy.
They remade the first Ratchet and Clank. It was a fantastic remake. They remade it for PS4, I think back in 2016. And it actually sold like extraordinarily well. Like way better than they expected. Like the game was like, they literally couldn't print copies of the game fast enough. It was selling out.
Damn. Really?
Yeah. Like it sold extremely well. And so I'll just tangent on this for a few seconds. So the game sold extremely well. It sold like millions of copies. And it completely took Sony by surprise. And it was a fantastic remake. They released the game at $40, which was a fantastic decision on their part. And again, it was just a total pleasant surprise on Sony's part. It was a great remake, and I was always shocked that they didn't immediately pump out a sequel to it, you know? I was like, where's the sequel? And it's been a few years now. I feel like the sequel is certainly in development. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see it come out this fall. And I met James Arnold Taylor, the voice actor of Ratchet at Star Wars Celebration. And he's sort of, I'm not trying to let you, he didn't confirm anything, but there was a little bit of winking and nodding going on. Where I asked him, I talked to him for a few seconds as he was signing a print for me. And he was there because, of course, he's the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars. And I was talking to him a little bit, and he's sort of, I asked him, like, hey, like, it seems a little strange that there's not a sequel to the Ratchet and Clank remake, because they did such a great job with the first one. It sold really, and he actually piped in. He's like, yeah, and it sold like, he was like, yeah, it sold extremely well. Like, it sold way better than they expected it to. And I was like, yeah, it seems kind of weird that there's no sequel yet. And he kind of smiles at me and goes, wouldn't that be nice? And I said, yeah, like, and I asked him, like, did they have you re-record the lines for the remake? Did they have you come back in and redo your lines, or did they just kind of punch up the old ones? They had me redo my lines. And again, he sort of smiled at me. It was a little bit like a wink and a nod that a sequel is coming. I don't know. That was the vibe I got from the whole interaction. So, I think that a sequel to that game is coming. I feel it in my balls, Todd.
I don't know.
We'll see. As we'll get into later on in this very episode, the feelings that I get in my balls can be trusted. So yeah, Sony has shown their cards early with PS5. Obviously, they've not released all the details, but this whole thing strikes me as strange. Still, though, it's exciting to know that it's exciting to hear some of this stuff confirmed. It's exciting to be able to talk about this stuff. Like, we can stop speculating, and I can stop, like, being an angry man shaking my fist saying, like, this better have backwards compatibility. And Sony's like, yes, it does. To me, that was the bare minimum. I was like, you motherfuckers better have PS4 backwards compatibility. What do you think PS5 needs? Like, we know it has backwards compatibility now. What else do you want out of it?
I don't know, man. That's honestly a good question. Because it's like, again, we're talking about them doing the whole loading thing. That's cool.
But are you just happy with more of the same?
In a way, kind of. Because it's like, I don't know really what else they can do from now on. It's like, what? Like, graphically, there's going to be slight improvements to that, but it's like...
Let me put it to you this way. How much longer can they get away with doing the same, like, just a better version of what they're already doing when their competition is doing much more interesting things? Like, Xbox has got stuff like the Game Pass.
Yeah.
How much longer can Sony get away with just doing things the same old way when their competition's doing things like Game Pass?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about, like, services, that's a different thing.
I'm just talking about, like, things in general. Like, how much longer can they get away with having, like, the PlayStation Store as, like, this laggy, like, application?
Well, yeah.
And not just an integral part.
There's obviously things they need to work on with, like, optimizations of that bullshit, but that's...
There's some bullshit. There's just some things where I'm just like, you need to optimize this next console. It's like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Make it snappy. You've got the power. You've got the power to make this a pleasant user experience. It's like, why does Sony, like with the PS3, they had that like cell technology, which has evidently made it like basically fucking impossible to like port these PS3 games. Apparently the cell technology is like so impossible to fucking work with that like that's the big reason why you can't play PS3 games on a PS4 without just like streaming it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they always do this shit where they like put something in their console that makes it like hard to fucking work with. I'm like, why? Like, what? Like, quit getting in the way of yourself. Like, on PS5, if I'm still having to like download the game and then copy the game and then install the game. Like, PS4 even downloads things way slower than any other device in my home.
Oh, that's dead ass. That's some real shit right there.
Why is that? When I had an Xbox One, I downloaded shit way faster than PS4 for no reason at all. It's like, what the fuck is going on? this kind of stuff is not going to be acceptable in the next generation, Todd. Like when your competition is, when both of your competitors are swinging and firing on all cylinders, like PS5 is not going to be able to get away with this shit. I don't know. You're gonna, I really think, I really do fear for Sony and PS5 and the next gen. Of course I'm gonna get one, but but I really do.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at it like this. When everything's like, actually is officially announced and we see what's going on, I'm fully prepared to go back home.
When the cards are all on the table, like, I'm willing to bet you that Xbox is going to have the better proposition.
Yeah. And it's again, with this, personally, it's like with this last generation with PS4 and Xbox One, PS4 was better for me. So we'll see if I go back to Microsoft.
Sony is
the next one.
Sony is hanging its hat on being like, okay, we have 100 million of these things basically out in the wild. All these people are going to come back, right? It's like, no, don't think that they won't turn on you.
Oh yeah, it's what happened to fucking, like, again, I just was not a fan of what the Xbox One did, but my main system before that was the 360. So
everybody's main system before that was the 360. And it's going to become a thing again where, like, PS3 was basically just an exclusives machine for me.
Yep.
And it's gonna be like that again, because Sony, that's the thing that drives me crazy, is Sony has excellent exclusives. Like, I'm always gonna own a PlayStation because I'm always gonna want to play the next Naughty Dog game, the next Insomnia or Sucker Punch game, stuff like that. I'm always gonna want to play, when Spider-Man 2 comes out, I'm gonna want to have a PlayStation to play that, right? But, like, I don't want it to be like that. I want PlayStation to still be my main console. I just don't think it's going to be, with the way everything's shaking out. But we'll see. Let's not call it too early. Anyway, with that PS5 talk out of the way, Todd, let's finally talk a little bit about our trip. So if you guys have only been tuning in for some video game talk, I would say that is pretty much over at this point. We're, for the rest of the show, just going to talk about our trip a little bit. So I flew into Chicago Midway Airport. It was on a Tuesday. It was the Tuesday before Star Wars Celebration 2019. As is tradition, you guys picked me up from the airport. We made a fucking beeline to Portillo's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly what we did.
And my wife had her first Chicago-style hot dog, which was fantastic. She loved it. We had rainbow cone, which is always fantastic.
So, I need to talk about this.
Yes.
Her reaction to rainbow cone was some of the funniest shit.
She was like, I don't know what to do.
With, like, this pained, confused face. It's like, something's just not right.
Yeah, it should be stated that a lot of people probably don't know what rainbow cone is. Rainbow cone is an ice cream cone that has, God, how many different flavors?
Shit, a lot. Let me.
I was just
quickly
Googling rainbow cone and my finger slipped, and instead of E, I hit D, and so my phone searched rainbow condoms.
I mean, those are probably a thing.
No, it is a thing.
All right, so yeah, so the original rainbow cone has orange sherbet, pistachio,
right,
Palmer House, strawberry, and chocolate. So
5 flavors. Fully 5 flavors of ice cream in one beautiful cone. And it's weird because you wouldn't think that these flavors would, and it's a very, like, Instagrammable cone, right? It looks very pretty. But all the flavors somehow work very well together.
It is a symphony. It is in perfect harmony with each other.
I don't know how they do it, but they managed to do it. And so, yeah, so my wife was eating it, and she's like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with this. My mouth is confused. So many different flavors. But she came around to it. I think by the end of it, she ended up agreeing with us that is a fantastic Chicago staple. Always got to get a rainbow cone.
Oh yeah.
I do want to just highlight some of the different food that we ate on the trip, because we hit all the classic spots.
Yeah, you had to. Had to do the touristy shit.
Had to go to
like
Navy
Giordano's.
Pier. Yeah, we went to Navy Pier and got Giordano's.
Yep.
That was a fantastic experience. And
I am happy that we just went with a basic pepperoni.
I am too.
I wish we got a smaller size too.
Shh, you're not kidding, dude. We got a medium, and I was thinking to myself, let's not get a large or whatever, because a large is going to be way too much. Let's get a medium. Let's see what a medium does. We were feeding 3 people, you, my wife, and I.
A medium was too big.
And a medium, I struggled to put away 2 pieces.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest. I could have put a third one down. I could have.
Right.
But I was just like, don't do it. You're gonna fuck your life up for later.
Yeah, I struggled to put 2 pieces down. And it got to the point where, because our mutual, we've mentioned him a few times on the show, our mutual friend Tyler happened to be in town at the same time with his now fiance. And congratulations, by the way, again. I'm sure he's listening to this. He does listen to the show. So anyway, Tyler was in town as well. And it was to the point where we literally were like, we need to call in reinforcements.
And they were already already on their way to Navy Pier.
Yeah, they were going to meet us at Navy Pier for the day, and we were
Yeah.
like, dude, if you get here soon enough, you can just polish off these last 3 slices of pizza for us.
Yep.
Because we ended up with like 3 slices, and I was like, literally, because we were going to go see Shazam not long after, and I was like, literally, I can't bring this in the movie theater. So, like, if we don't finish this, I'm going to have to, like, throw it away or go outside, give it to a homeless person or something. Anyway, that was not necessary. Tyler and his fiance Bree, they made it in time. They came in, they finished our pizza, and it was good.
It wasn't the freshest pizza, but it was still
it was
good.
still pizza nonetheless. Anastasia's been driving me fucking crazy for to make her some bruschetta now, because we got that sampler platter appetizer.
She was just straight. Wasn't she like just spoon eating that shit?
Yeah, because they had, the bruschetta typically has that like sort of like diced tomatoes in like a balsamic.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with bruschetta. I love a good bruschetta. Like, it's just good.
Yeah, and it's good. Bruschetta's good. And yeah, she was dead ass just eating the tomatoes with a spoon by the end of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Giordano's always good. Deep dish is not. It's funny because on my other podcast that I do with my wife, Tea and Honey, we actually, one of the topics that Anastasia brought this week was Chicago, and we talked about we talked about the deep dish pizza for a little while, and I told her like for Chicago and deep dish that's not what we consider Chicago style pizza.
Nah, dude.
Like,
I like my tavern style.
We like that thin tavern style crispy crust. We don't typically go for the deep dish, but every once in a while it is nice to revisit the deep dish.
Yep.
A good deep dish, there is something to be said about a good deep dish, especially on, like, we went to Navy Pier. It was a cold, sort of rainy day. I think there was literally, like, sleet coming down.
It wasn't actual rain.
Yeah, it was like kind of...
I think there was like a random dude. He's like... It was like a random dude. He's like, this isn't normal rain.
Yeah, he's like, this rain ain't right, basically. And it was basically like, it was halfway between like flirting with rain and snow.
Yeah.
It was like slush kind of falling down a little bit. And nothing was better on that day than a piping hot deep dish pizza. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was good. Shit, we had like pizza like 3 times.
Yeah.
On the trip.
Because it's not the best pizza in the world, but it's very near and dear to my heart. It's tradition. We got to get Rickabenny's on the south side.
Always
got
to get Rickabenny's, and this time I actually introduced you to the breaded steak sandwich from them,
which was a messy, fantastic experience.
You're welcome.
It was fucking. I mean, it was delicious, but goddamn, if that is not the messiest sandwich I've ever eaten in my life.
Dude. Again, I'm telling you, every time I get that sandwich, like, I remember the first time I got it, it was like I was talking to, I might have told this story before. I was like talking to Tyler, and again, it's the one item in the world that I'll like take my headphones off or whatever and just go to town on it, because nobody deserves to hear the sounds that come out of me when I eat that damn thing.
You already make the most disgusting noises probably ever to ever grace a human ear.
Yes.
Whenever you eat, you'll be talking to Todd, and you'll just hear him eating some.
I make love to my food. All right?
Sound like fucking Jabba the Hutt, and and yeah, I can only imagine what it would sound like to listen to you eating a breaded steak sandwich.
It's bad.
It is
Real
just
bad.
this fucking nightmare cacophony of like meat and like marinara sauce and like mozzarella cheese. It tastes amazing, but it looks like shit. Like and like it's just like you pick it up and it's just like soggy and dripping with fucking sauce and cheese, and I'm just like, fuck.
Keep going. Keep going. You're getting me there.
I mean, look, it tastes fucking phenomenal, but it's not like the actual act of like eating it is such a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I had to do the Action Bronson, dude. I had to like move my beard out of the way.
Yep.
To eat the thing. So
it's not that sandwich is not beard friendly.
No, but most things aren't. So, but you know, it wasn't. My wife didn't enjoy it, but you know.
And then I had to introduce you to the little hole in the wall that I.
Oh, Phil's.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, Phil's is up there with the best pizza I've ever had.
I know, motherfucker.
That pizza was so fucking good. It was so good.
I honestly felt bad for everyone around me because like they didn't get much of that pizza because I was killing that shit.
I had to fight you for some of that pizza.
Shit.
I was lucky to
die,
get.
boy.
I was lucky to get like 4 slices of that pizza.
Shit, I had like 8.
I'll tell you what. Like Phil's pizza, it is cooked like exactly the way that I like pizza to be cooked. Like,
yep.
Like just a little overdone, you know.
So that's my thing. I like my shit browned a little bit, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like,
exactly. I like it to be just a little overdone, where it's got a little bit of that brownness on the top.
Mm-hmm.
All the ingredients were fantastic.
That's actually the thing I think Phil's does really well is the toppings. The toppings are like really good. It's got a really good sauce. Like it's all around. Like it is like the main reason I don't order from them that much is because that's all they have. Like that pizza. That's it. You know what I mean? Like they do other shit, but they don't do all the other shit that I like to get with my pizza, like wings and stuff like that. You know?
I would honestly like if I lived up there, I would just be like, I'll get fucking wings from Brandy's or something like that, and I'll go to Phil's for the pizza. I wouldn't get pizza from anywhere else. I understand the convenience, but like honestly,
that's my thing. I don't like ordering from 2 separate places annoys me.
It's just the pizza was that good. It's just like that crust is perfect. It's that perfect thin tavern style crust that I enjoy. That audible crunch when you bite into the slice. It's square cut how I like it.
Yeah, and I also want to use this time to shit on Falco's.
Oh,
right.
Come on. You know Tyler's listening to this.
Tyler, I know you're listening. Let me shit on Falco's for you all day. Falco's is garbage.
See, Falco's to him is like Rick and Benny's to me. He knows that that's not actually the best pizza in the world, just like I know that Rick and Benny's isn't the best. But it's where the heart is.
I know. This is a staple of a good pizza to me, though. If it can be reheated and still be good.
And Falco's
is just pure ass when it gets reheated.
Oh Lord, I've never had it, so.
I had a little bit because he left his food over here as long with it.
Right. Yeah, that whole
phone.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, that whole scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up eating that pizza. It was good. Toppings were. It was free pizza, so I can't complain. But
what kind of toppings did you get on that pizza? What was the deal?
There was mushroom on one of them.
Oh, so you got multiple pizzas?
There was like there was like a couple things in there. It was like some standard ass shit, and then there was like one with mushrooms.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of mushrooms on pizza.
Neither am I. Well, you still ate it, didn't you?
Oh yeah, like my fat ass. Of course I ate that
like
shit.
Like a little sewer rat. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, never had it. Never had Falco's or anything like that. But again, it's the
Again, I only give you the best.
Yeah. Well, it's where the heart is. Ricobene's holds a special place in my heart.
I think that it's like that's the thing. It's like anytime you are up here, it's like we're gonna get Ricobene's just because like that nostalgia factor.
Right. We're gonna get Ricobene's. We're gonna split an order of chili cheese fries. That's just gonna happen.
I'm surprised you fuck with those chili cheese fries because they got beans in them.
I don't normally like beans, but there's something about Ricobene's chili cheese fries that just
it's good.
They hit the spot.
The thing that my only issue with these fries, personally, is that they're more of it's a chili in cheese, not a chili cheese.
Yeah, that's my only. I actually mentioned that to you. I wonder if you could order it with like extra cheese.
That's honestly what I would love to do. Just get a little more cheese on that. I'm telling you, they'd probably be my favorite. They'd probably be my favorite chili cheese fries.
Yeah, because the quality, they do that sort of like natural cut fry that I really like.
It's very good.
And the fries are like nice and long. I like putting good long things in my mouth.
Oh yeah.
But the quality, you can tell it's a homemade chili. That's what I like about it. You can tell that they make that chili in-house. And that's why the beans don't bother me, because the beans are almost a part of what you can tell is a homemade chili.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good chili cheese fry. I only wish that it had more cheese. So next time I think maybe we should see if we can get extra cheese on it. And maybe that'll perfect the order right there. But Ricobene's has such a soft spot in my heart. I will always and forever. That's always objectively going to be my favorite pizza, even if I know that like Phil's is like twice as good. You know?
I feel like at this point we'll cover the food first before we get into Star Wars.
Of course. Was there ever any doubt that we would do that?
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm trying to think what other food.
We of course got us a Crave case.
Oh yes, the good old Crave case. Killed that shit too.
Can we make a quick pit stop? Okay, so let's talk about this. So there was a face that you made that summed up the entire trip. You made this face of disgust several times throughout the course of the trip.
Yes. Yes.
And it ended up becoming like emblematic of the trip where we would sort of overuse the face.
Yeah.
And there was one of the first instances of the face being used was, the White Castle had been sitting out for a little while. We had been watching TV. We would end most of our nights in Chicago. We would end most of our nights on the front porch, right?
Yeah, on the porch, maybe drinking a little whiskey and
drinking
shit.
Drinking a little
just
whiskey,
chilling.
just having like a little nightcap, and I'm like, break out the leftover White Castle. Let me get into that Crave case a little bit, and I ate one of them cold, and you looked at me with just like the most sheer disgust as I bit into it. And you're like, you're eating it cold.
It's disgusting. I made that face like multiple times. Like
you made it again.
People.
I think you made it again when Bree said that like Pizza Hut was better than like.
Oh yeah, she said. Well, she's comparing all this good pizza to just like fast food garbage.
Right.
And I'm just like, I just looked at her. What the
Get off this porch.
I straight up was like, I think I straight up said that.
Yeah.
And then she said something about like Tabasco, like hot sauce. It's like, ugh.
It just ended
Tabasco.
It just ended up being whenever like anything mildly perturbing happened.
I just made that.
Just make that disgusted face. like, hey Todd, we waited 2 hours in line for Ray Park. Ugh. It was funny. What other food items did we eat? We actually, so this will not be live by the time you hear this, but we do want to do an episode of Eats on this because we had our first experience with Ethiopian food while we were up there.
Without getting truly into it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
It was really good. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
But I really dug it, actually. I was like, man, this is actually really good. Like, that was a
like,
very unique.
I'll say this: if I ever did it again, like I definitely, I know the type of shit that I like.
So would I.
From that,
yeah, I would double down on the things that I really enjoyed. I was glad that we tried a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And we still, between all of us, killed the majority of that platter.
Oh, dude, like, honestly, if we got the smaller one, it would have been done.
Right. For those that don't know, Ethiopian food is served with this, like, weird, like, crepe-esque sourdough.
Yes.
And basically you rip off pieces of this bread. And you just you like rip it off and dip it in and kind of like grab. It's just rip and grab kind of style food on a platter. Very enjoyable. There's something, I don't know. There's something like primal and animalistic about eating with your hands like that, and I kind of like it.
I don't know. I enjoy it, and it was really good food. A lot of good spice.
Yeah. What I liked is that the spice level was consistent among everything on the plate.
Yeah, it was nothing like overpowering. It was just had a good spice. Shit, a very good tea. And I'm not even that big of a tea guy, and I drank that shit.
Yes. Very good cup of hot chai on a cold Chicago day. Cause shit, that was the day it snowed.
Yeah, that was the day that everybody on Reddit, on the Star Wars Celebration Reddit was like, I just experienced my first snowstorm.
It's the Battle of Hoth.
I'm like, oh, you poor bastards. You think that's snow?
This is only, what, it was like 3 or 4 inches.
Bro, it was nothing, dude. It was nothing. Like, dude, I'm thinking back to, like, and it wasn't even that cold, dude.
No, it wasn't.
Like, I was like, it's like these bastards would have died during that polar vortex.
We were still in shorts.
Shit, yeah. I was chilling.
So it was kind of funny because it would be like 70 one day and then it fucking snowed.
Yep.
It's like, all right. So.
It's like, welcome to Chicago and welcome to climate change.
Dude, you know what's hilarious? I don't know if you heard this or not. So, like, day 2 or something like that, the day that we went to Millennium Park and shit, my wife lost one of her wedding bands.
So, I heard about this because I heard about this through Facebook.
Okay. So, yeah, she lost, apparently it fell off of her finger or something like that. And so she has like 3 wedding bands. She has her engagement ring, and then she has 2 kind of like smaller wedding bands, and she lost one of them. Mm-hmm. And she was freaking out, didn't tell me about it. And it was missing for like days.
Yep, and I know exactly where she found it.
Yeah, and so we stayed across the street with your grandfather and his wife, which was very nice of them to let us stay with them for the week, and we were staying in their guest bedroom for the week. And anyway, when she lost it on his front porch, evidently. And it had like snowed and like days had gone by, and she found it like 4 days later somehow.
Shit.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got fucking a fucking solid gold wedding band laying on the ground in the streets of Chicago, and it didn't get snatched up by anything.
Well, was it on the porch?
I think it was. I think she said it was either on the porch or the sidewalk or something.
I think I read that it was like on the porch. So at that point, I'm really not surprised it didn't get taken.
Well, dude, you're telling me it's not going to get taken by a bird or a rat or something?
Hey, let me tell you right now.
A cat?
I live on one of the nicest blocks in Chicago.
I'm just saying, like anything could have any sort of like anything could have taken it. You know. Telling me that like fucking nothing happened to it. It didn't get carried by the wind. It didn't get lost in the fucking snow.
Hey, be happy it didn't get lost.
No, I am happy it didn't get lost. I just can't believe it. It survived on its own in the fucking in the streets of Chicago in the fucking snow and everything for fucking like 4 days. I can't believe it. I mean, it's cool. I'm happy that it didn't get lost, but I was just in shock. So, anyway.
The only other major food thing we did was ramen.
Yes. So, I took you for your first experience of real ramen, which was nice. We went to Ramen San in Chicago.
Shit, almost walked past that motherfucker.
Yeah, they had a very innocuous sort of sign, and it was good. It was very good. How was your first ramen experience?
It's very solid. I followed your. You were my spirit guide.
I
followed your order.
Ordered us a tonkatsu broth, a pork bone, a very, very typical sort of baseline broth for ramen, and wish we had ordered extra noodles.
Damn straight.
Because that was one thing that this place was weak on was the noodles. As we were eating it, I was like, I think this place literally uses instant noodles.
It dead ass tasted like.
And again, that's fine. There's some places that do that. Even in Japan, there are places that do that.
Yeah.
But like, I just wish there was more of it because like the noodles to broth ratio is off. Yeah. I like a good amount of noodles.
The actual other ingredients were fantastic.
Yeah, so we got, you know, as is typical in a tonkatsu ramen, slices of chashu pork. I actually ordered us extra chashu pork because that's always a thing. Like normally they'll just put 1 or 2 slices or whatever. I'm like, no, bitch, I want like 5-6 slices of pork in my shit.
And that shit right there was like melt in your mouth type shit.
It was melt in your mouth tender. It was clearly marinated with like some lime. It just had this great lime flavor to it. Mm-hmm. And you know, sometimes you'll go to ramen places and their bamboo shoots will be gross. And this place had really good bamboo shoots.
Really good bamboo shoots.
You know, of course, it had the spring onion in there. We got some extra fried garlic in there.
Then we had the fried chicken, which worked out really, really well.
Yeah, so that's sort of this place's thing. Ramen-san's thing is it's a little bit like they got some like crazier things on the menu, and one of them was fried chicken. I see fried chicken as one of the add-ins, and I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. I was like, who puts fried chicken in their ramen?
Hey, it was good.
And I said, fuck it. Todd and I are going to try it. So we each, you know, I threw in the fried chicken as add-ins into our ramen. And so they put in, you know, 3 or 4 pieces of fried chicken or whatever. And it was good.
It was very, very good.
I liked it. You know, of course, it had the marinated egg, just like any good ramen, you know. And it was a really solid bowl of ramen, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Very, very solid. Shout out to the Wagyu beef gyoza that I ordered as an appetizer. That shit was good.
I think that's an understatement. That shit was fantastic.
That you talk about something that melts in your mouth. That gyoza, the Wagyu beef that was in that fucking gyoza, literally disappeared as I bit into it.
I swear.
Like, I literally, like, I tried to bite into it just to get a cross-section, and the beef quite literally melted in my mouth. It was that tender.
I want to shout out to the fact that, like, I'm telling you right now, it took every fiber of my being not to get that shot of, like, that 27-year-old aged hibiki.
Yeah, they had this, like, this 20-plus-year-old aged hibiki. I think it was it 27 or was it, like, 20?
It's 20. It might be 23, 27
it's
or something.
Either like
way,
that.
It's like, it's upper 20s. It might be 21.
And for those that don't know anything about whiskey, that is an absurdly like well-aged bourbon, or any sort of whiskey. Like for whiskey to be aged that long, that's special. That's top shelf, right? One shot of that was like $43.
Real shit.
A bottle of that is like
it's like $850.
Yeah, it's like $800 to $1,000. So yeah.
I thought about it.
I actually halfway. If my wife wasn't there, if it was just me and you, we would have done it.
If it was me, I think I dead ass. If it was just me and you, I think we would have done it. Like done it.
She has to be my sort of guiding light a lot of times to not make stupid decisions. Because I'm telling you, if it was just me and you, we would have just did it.
Yeah.
And it would have been wonderful.
And then so that's why I ended up actually buying my Kmart hibiki.
Still good. It was. What was it?
Still very
what's it
good.
called? Toki, isn't it?
Centauri whiskey. Toki.
Toki. Yeah.
Solid. It still has that like apple note that we noticed with hibiki during the bachelor party.
That seems to be So that seems that we did a bachelor party from a bachelor party. You can go back and listen to that. We did a whiskey tasting as part of my bachelor party. And so I bought the most expensive Japanese whiskey I could find at my local liquor store. My local liquor store. My local liquor store. No, my local liquor store, which was this like $100 bottle of hibiki. And
dude, I'm gonna be honest. Well, I was surprised to see that shit.
I was too. I couldn't believe it. There was like one. It was like a fucking like they had to open up the fucking like tome just to sell it. It's been there for like 10,000 years kind of thing. They had like dust on it. It's like nobody's bought this Japanese whiskey in so long.
Yeah, it was legitimately top shelf.
I bet you what happened is some soldier, you know, from Fort Polk or something probably requested it that they order it, and then he probably never came back to buy it because they only had the one bottle.
Yeah.
So and so I bought it, and man, it was fantastic. And like you notated just a minute ago, one thing that is true about Japanese whiskey from what we've been noticing is that they have a kind of appley, fresh note to them.
It's a very, very refreshing whiskey.
Right.
And it's like, I love it. Like, it's very good. Like, I honestly want to dive more. I want to dive deeper into some Japanese whiskeys, honestly.
Because in America, like when you're talking about Kentucky bourbons and stuff like that, it's oftentimes, every now and then we get a little bit of citrus, but it's oftentimes more like spice, like vanilla and like caramel. Yeah. Like a lot of times I'll get like kind of a pecan pie note to it. And don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but like Japanese whiskey is such a different beast. It like intrigues me. Yeah. So I've been, we've been sort of dabbling more and more in Japanese whiskey, and it's been good. I would have loved to try that hibiki, that super aged hibiki, but stronger minds prevailed. So I think that pretty much covers the food, and really, so it's no secret. I mean, we were up there for Star Wars Celebration Chicago 2019, which we went for 3 days together. I went for a fourth day just very briefly, just to take care of some business. But my exclusives. I had to get my exclusive Hasbro figures because I just want to talk about impressions because this is your first convention experience at all. Yeah. So I just want to give you the floor for a second and talk about, I mean, how do you feel about it? That, having now, because here's the thing that I almost feel a little bit bad for you because your first convention experience was, here, get thrown into the deep end, bitch.
Oh, and for a very introverted person like myself, that shit, like, legitimately exhausted me.
Yes.
Like, in a big, bad way.
I mean, dude, you got to think about every day there's 100,000 plus people there.
Dude, it was exhausting for me, like, to be around that much people.
The only bigger convention than that is San Diego Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. That's the only bigger convention. Like, other than that, Star Wars Celebration is it. Yeah. So yeah, your first convention experience was literally as bad as it gets.
Other than that, though, it's like I didn't think it was like that bad.
Yeah, I mean, look. There were issues with the way that it was ran a little bit.
Oh, definitely some issues with that.
The app was basically fucking useless.
Yep. Took forever to come out, too.
Yeah, it took forever for the app to come out. It was practically useless when it did come out. I'll say this. Never had my badge checked, not once. The entire time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that got proven when we had those people walking around the fucking show floor with like trying to scam people out of money.
Yeah, on the first day, on Thursday, the first day of the show, there were people who came in with no badges who were trying to get money from people on the show floor, and some guy reported that they actually stole money from him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what the fuck? And then like there were like security issues too, where I think it was on Friday, like it was reported that somebody had managed to get a gun in there.
Sounds about right.
And it just, in terms of things actually being ran, it was just a little dicey. Now, I'll give credit to, so Reed Pop is who throws the show. So I think Reed Pop kind of fucked up overall in terms of them actually like organizing the convention. However, yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Tops, who handled the autographs and the photo ops, because I think that went about as smooth as it possibly could have. They had a sort of system where you show up like 20 minutes before your time slot, and you still have to wait in line, but it's not nearly as long as you would in shows past. And like, we waited in line for like Alan Tudyk to get our photo op with Alan Tudyk, for example, but like it was really efficiently ran otherwise.
Oh, the photo op was smooth as fuck.
We went in, we took our picture, we had a nice little interaction with them, and they even had our bags sitting on a cart for us to grab.
I still think I should have crop dusted them.
You said that as we left. I was like, almost crop dusted Alan Tudyk. He had a very soft shirt. Nice guy.
He did.
Really nice guy. We my wife and I don't think you were there for this, but we ended up
I didn't go in line for that.
Yeah, we ended up getting in line later that day to get him to sign the picture that we took with him, and he's a very, very nice guy. And I had my hand on his shoulder when we were taking the picture with him, and I was like, your shirt's really soft. it was just that every time I think about him now, I think about how soft his shirt was. I'm like, fuck, where do I get one of those? Shit.
It would not look good on you.
No, it wouldn't.
It would not look good on me.
It looks good on him because he's like a thin, attractive person. If you or I tried to wear it, we'd look like a fucking we'd look like a manatee that ran an art show. Anyway. So that was cool. We you were in line for somebody, weren't you?
I got in line for Jar Jar.
Oh, okay. So you were there when we met Ahmed Best. Okay.
Yes.
So that was Ahmed Best is a really nice guy, and I gotta love the fact that he wrote on our print, Jar Jar's the key to all this.
And I gotta love that he's right next to Ian McDermott. It all makes sense.
You made that we were in line, and you're just like, you think it's a coincidence? Think it's a coincidence they put him next to the Palpatine? Now, that's an excellent segue, because I have a clip prepared. So, okay. Folks that have been listening to Nerd Bourbon for a while, you know that I predicted like 3 months ago, in Nerd Bourbon episode 90 to be exact, I predicted that Palpatine would make his return as the ultimate villain of episode 9. You know what would be cool? And this is something that I've heard before, but to expand on it a little bit, I would love it if somehow, some way, the big bad, like taking the idea of like, oh, somebody has been pulling the strings this entire time. What if somehow Darth Sidious is still a thing in the sequel trilogy? Let me just say, Todd, Seth was right.
Oh, I know.
So on Friday, the episode 9 panel debuted early that morning. We're all watching it on our phones like idiots.
Yep.
And even while we're like in line, we're sitting there watching it on our phones. They show the episode 9 trailer, which I do want to give our thoughts about. But the big deal was at the end of the episode 9 trailer, we get that laugh. Mm-hmm. We get that Palpatine laugh. And Ian actually takes the stage afterwards.
Roll it again.
Yes. It was so good. It was that moment was just like electric. It was so cool to be in the room.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. The show floor was just going fucking ape shit.
The amount of people cheering, like you could tell when something cool is happening in the trailer, because like you could just feel a wave of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like charging through and hitting you in the face. It was so cool. It was so cool to be in the room, like to be at the show when that trailer dropped.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about the trailer for a second. I mean, I don't want to gloat too much about how right I was, and it was actually kind of funny because Tyler showed up to the show that day, and he sits down at the table and he's like, "Motherfucker, you were right." And so that was a great moment for me. That was a great moment in Seth was right history.
At this point, I think it's your biggest Seth was right.
It probably is. But
yeah, overall though, like that trailer, absolutely fantastic.
That trailer is everything I wanted.
Yep.
It is funny though, because like it almost feels like a slap in the face of The Last Jedi a little bit. Like, it's almost like, don't worry, the helmet's fixed. Don't worry, the lightsaber's fixed. Don't worry, Luke may be dead, but don't worry, his voice is in the trailer.
Well, here's the thing, man. I honestly think that, like, I don't know, like, JJ's just, like, I feel like they're just doing damage control for the motherfuckers that, like, hate The Last Jedi, so.
JJ Abrams has got, bar none, the hardest job right now.
Yeah.
Because with episode 9, he has to complete a 9-part saga in a satisfying way. He has to, like you said, do damage control for people who both love The Last Jedi like me and people who hated The Last Jedi. You know,
I'm pretty in the middle. I'm still in the middle on The Last Jedi, honestly.
there are people who just loathe that movie, but he has to still appeal to those people. He has to still right those wrongs in the eyes of those people without damaging the relationship for the people that loved it. You know, so like that is such. I mean, he has got so many plates to spin with Episode 9, and if Episode 9 ends up being the movie that it seems like it's going to be, I gotta say, like, it is good or bad. You have to acknowledge how impressive that is.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. And we should acknowledge the title, The Rise of Skywalker. What
has it grown on you yet?
No, it hasn't. Not really. I'll tell you this much. So there's been a lot of talk about this title. What does it mean, right? I don't think Rise of Skywalker. Now that we're marinating on it.
I'm a big fan of the theory being that's just what the new form of Jedi is going to be called.
I'm iffy on that.
I mean, I think that's probably the way they're going to go, honestly, personally.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that the ultimate end of the ultimate end of the Skywalker saga is going to be somewhat similar to what we saw in The Last Jedi, where once Luke made that kind of hero sacrifice on Crate to buy the Resistance time, finally the galaxy had a spark of hope again, right? Where the story of Luke Skywalker was kind of being told again. I think that once this saga wraps up as a whole, I think that the Rise of Skywalker is not saying like, oh, Jedis are now called Skywalkers, and it's not saying, oh, it's because Rise of Skywalker, or oh, it's because we're talking about Kylo. It's none of that. It is the rise of what the Skywalker saga means. It is the rise of what all of these decades of storytelling means to the galaxy.
Hope.
Yeah, right. The Rise of Skywalker is the rise of hope in the galaxy. Yeah. It is the rise of what the name Skywalker means. And to me, that is so much more meaningful than just saying like, oh, well, it's because that's what the Jedi are called now.
I mean, yeah, I actually like that. I like that better. That harkens back to just A New Hope anyways.
Right. And think of it this way, Todd. And I feel like such an idiot because I'm on like the verge of tears even just saying this. Because I just care about Star Wars so much. But like, think about the way that if this is the route that they're going to go, where the name Skywalker is going to be synonymous with hope in the face of the galaxy, think of how that redeems Anakin's name. You know? Think of the way that redeems Anakin Skywalker's name in the face of the galaxy. He did all this terrible shit as Darth Vader. Like, think of that. The most of the galaxy doesn't know that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader.
Yep.
Maybe that gets out. Maybe that's one of the things that they're going back to the old Death Star for. You know? It gets out that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader and all this stuff happened and his name is redeemed. And his redemption is finally known. He finally gets his due. Nobody was there except for Luke at Darth Vader's funeral.
Yeah.
Finally, Anakin's name is redeemed the way it deserves to be in the face of the galaxy, in the light of all of this new hope. That's what I think the Rise of Skywalker is. So, in that way, I like the title. I still don't think it rolls off the tongue. But that's my flag in the ground for what the title means.
I mean, I respect that. I respect that take on it.
We'll see. I mean, you know, look, we're not going to know much about it until December, unfortunately, but I will be there minute one to watch that movie. I will tell you fucking what, Todd. In terms of Star Wars Celebration, though, so I want to talk about the Last Jedi panel that you and I got into. So,
you mean the Fallen
that's
Fallen
what I
Order.
mean, sorry.
Fallen Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order panel. So,
yeah.
We knew going into this that was the one panel you and I wanted to get into. If nothing else was going to happen, God damn it.
We were going to get into that.
Exactly. God damn it, we're going to get into that because A lot of stuff, and this is another complaint I had about the way the show was ran.
Lottery-based. The lottery-based system is absolute trash.
We entered into this lottery system where basically you had a chance of your name being drawn to get into the Episode 9 panel or the Mandalorian panel. I entered us into several of these lotteries, and we didn't win any of them.
Yep.
The only one that I won, thankfully, was for the Hasbro exclusive figures for the Black Series that I wanted. Luckily, I got my hands on those. But we did not win the Episode 9 lottery. Whatever. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. That being said, the Jedi Fallen Order panel was not tied to a lottery. It just required you to, get in line in the ways of old.
Yep.
And
the way that's the only reason we did get into that motherfucker.
So we got in line and we waited, and we got into the Jedi Fallen Order panel, got perfectly acceptable seats.
And there's video proof of us.
There is. So Inside Xbox was there, gathering footage for the Xbox YouTube channel, and there is a Jedi Fallen Order video you can find from Star Wars Celebration where you can see us in the crowd. They kind of did it was funny because the dude was like, all right, everybody, I'm from Inside Xbox, we're trying to get some B-roll of just look very excited and clapping and blah, blah, blah.
I love it. It's just everybody's reaction was the same. It's like we all did it as soon as they got one past, boom, right back to stone face. Just like
So they he counted down, they started rolling, and they kind of just did a quick shot going down the crowd, and you and I were right there in the beginning of it, and everybody's clapping, woo, basically, as soon as the camera stops, everybody stopped cheering.
Just fucking stopped giving a shit. It's all right, cool.
Went back to miserably waiting in line. But man, God. So finally, the curtain was lifted on Jedi Fallen Order, man. Whew.
I wish we actually saw gameplay, but damn, that trailer was fucking good.
I know why we didn't see gameplay. I honestly think that they're saving that for E3 time.
And I'm fine with that, honestly. I'm cool.
But the fact that we finally know about this game, it looks magnificent.
You even have theories about a mechanic that might be in the game where it's like a grapple with force pull, basically.
There's a shot towards the end of the trailer where you see Cal, the new main character played by Cameron Monaghan from Gotham, and he looks awesome. And for those, I guess I should say real quick, for those that don't know, Jedi Fallen Order is an upcoming game by Respawn Entertainment, a single player only, no microtransactions, third person.
Our last hope.
Right, exactly. The last hope for a good Star Wars game. Coming from Respawn on November 15th. And in it, you play as Cal Kestis, who is this Padawan, Jedi Padawan, who survived Order 66. And throughout the course of the game, you're basically trying to stay hidden from the Imperials and so that they don't finish the job, basically. You're being hunted throughout the course of the game. And he's sort of being forced to grow in the Force to survive. Mm-hmm. And anyway, in one of the final shots of the trailer, Cal is doing some parkour. He's doing some wall running. Almost Titanfall-esque wall running. And he reaches out and pulls himself towards this cliff face. And I was telling you as soon as we saw it, I was like, I bet you that's going to be basically their grappling hook mechanic.
And that's cool, honestly. I enjoyed that.
And that's sort of a unique, I don't know that we've necessarily seen that usage of the Force before.
No.
Like a Force pull to pull yourself to a ledge.
Now, the only thing I really need to ask, is, are we ever going to see Force? Are we going to see Force speed?
I knew you were going to say that. If I have to hear you ask about Force speed one more fucking time, you have such a bug up your ass about Force speed. You love Force speed. What is it about Force speed? You love it so much.
I'm just saying. I don't know why the fuck we only ever see it in Phantom Menace.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Force speed in this game. We didn't see gameplay, as you said, but from everything that we're hearing and from everything we understand and sort of the language that they were using on stage at this panel,
the language they were using for the combat intrigues me.
They said it was sort of deliberate, thoughtful combat.
Yeah, that sounds like it's gonna be right up my alley.
That makes me think that it's gonna have some Souls inspiration a little bit.
When there's nothing wrong with that. Souls has got some good combat.
Yeah, so that I think there's going to be a little bit of a Souls kind of influence on the combat. They said that they want it to be difficult, but they also want it to be accessible. So
Yeah.
they're saying all the right things, and I think that in a couple of months when E3 time rolls around, I think we're going to finally see some gameplay. I think we're going to get a nice meaty gameplay demo, and as we're approaching this November release date, I really can't wait. It's like my most anticipated game easily.
Oh, easily. And I want to talk about like one of my favorite moments. This is actually a highlight of like probably the whole convention is actually at that panel is when the trailer fucking ends and like everybody in the crowd just turns on their lightsabers and shit.
Yes.
God, that was good.
Always awesome. Always awesome to see that. And then of course, you and I so I went to another panel, a Hasbro panel earlier, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, I left like 10 minutes early because I didn't want to get caught up in the crowd. Basically, when it came to pass that we were sort of like, okay, yeah, they're not going to show gameplay. Let's fucking get out of here.
Yeah, and it worked out because it's just like we ended up like beating the crowd for like we got the fuck out, and then we also got our exclusives.
Yes, so
like, before the crowd poured
they
in.
did this with all of the Wintrust Arena panels. So they handed out these vouchers, and we went to the hotel next door and grabbed some exclusive merch. They handed out some exclusive Jedi Fallen Order pins, as well as a nice, high-quality poster.
And 1 month free of Xbox Live Gold.
Right, which we left on a table.
Left on a table somewhere.
Somebody's enjoying
I actually,
it.
as I was heading down, like the escalator, as we're heading out, I'm like kind of flashing everybody that's coming up. I'm like flashing everybody the posters so they know what they're getting.
Yeah, it was a cool poster of the cool, I guess it's probably going to be the box art of the game, and very, very cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, honestly. Like, I was already happy with the panel, I wasn't expecting to get some free swag.
It's funny is like I'm pretty sure if the hotel wasn't right next door, I think we would have said fuck it.
It was literally right next door. We we were one of the first people to leave, so we were able to get there pretty quick before the crowd.
Yeah. Well, somebody even said he's like as I was heading down, they're like, "Damn, you guys got your shit fast." It's like, yeah.
I don't know. Those are the main points that I wanted to hit for Star Wars Celebration. I will say, let's give a shout out real quick to my wife who waited in that Celebration store line.
Oh, yes.
While we were in line for the Jedi Fallen Order panel, she went into the Celebration store line, which was routinely a 4 to 5 hour wait every day. She managed to get in about 2.5 hours. She actually got in like right at the same time we got into our panel, so about 2 hours.
We're basically like giving our order to her. Basically.
Yeah, she was sending me pictures of like the things that they had for sale. You and I were interested in getting some shirts and stuff like that. So she was basically sending some pictures, and yeah, we essentially placed our order and racked up like a fucking like $250 bill.
Shit.
But so we got our shirts. You got your Jabba the Hutt gangster shirt.
Yeah, my Millennium Falcon just celebration shirt.
I got that one too, and I got the 20th anniversary Darth Maul shirt. I was very happy. It's actually a really comfortable shirt. I was actually wearing it yesterday, and it was a good. It worked out. It worked out very, very well.
And then I treated you guys to shitty convention food.
Oh my god. Yeah, that shit was ridiculous. Like $55.
$55 fucking dollars.
I was like, well, that just paid for your shirts right there.
Exactly. It's like we calling it even. Like
pretty much. Like shit. $55 for some shitty burgers, and she got the better deal. She got a salad.
I'll be honest. If I went back in time, all three of us would be getting that salad bar.
If I knew that the salad bar would have been that worth, I would have hit that.
And at that point, it's not by weight. It's like $13 even. It's like shit.
That's what fucked me up. Is she was like, you could have piled that as high as you wanted. I was like, fuck. And it looked like it was a good salad.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad. Honestly, it looked pretty decent.
And we got our shitty little burgers and our shitty little Gatorades and. We called it a day.
Those fucking the 2 Gatorades alone was like $10.
Yeah,
it's like shit.
Convention food is fucking ridiculous. But you get to a certain point where it's just so convenient.
Well, that's the main reason we did it, because we were just like, I think we were talking about doing we were actually talking about doing ramen that day, but it's just like we didn't want to like leave the fucking.
But by
floor
the time you leave and you got to go back through security,
you had something at like 3:00, I think that day.
Yeah, I think I had like an autograph or something at like 3:00 or something like that. But it is what it is. You know, I had a good time overall.
We need to talk about another good moment. Is between the two of us.
What's that?
Is when you were like messaging me, like, oh yeah, we're in line for whatever, and I'm just like, I know.
Oh, yeah, it was actually when I was in line for James Arnold Taylor, and we were in line for him for a while, and I had to go to somebody else basically immediately after.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, it was Daniel Logan. I was in line for James Arnold Taylor, and then as soon as we met him, I was like, okay, well, my time is now here for Daniel Logan, so I'm going right to him. I texted you because you're waiting on the outskirts, and you're like, I know, I'm watching you. And
it was perfect. You just looked right over it.
The perfect timing. I lifted up my head, and you just so happened to be right where I was looking, and you just kind of like tilted your head back like, sup.
And I think we were just both looking at each other like laughing like idiots.
we were just like cracking each other up via text, basically.
Yep.
I gotta shout out Daniel Logan too. Daniel Logan was probably that dude is so cool, man. Yeah. Daniel Logan's a really fucking cool guy. He was so like gracious and like he spent enough time with everybody without fucking without overdoing it like Ray Park.
Throwing that shade.
Don't get me wrong, Ray Park is a great guy. Really cool guy. Really enjoyed meeting him. But holy shit, we were in his line for over 2 hours.
I think that ended up being the day. Yeah, that's the other day. We were planning on doing ramen that night, but you guys dead ass didn't even get out of there till like 8:00.
So here's what pissed me off about that whole situation. I had Ray Park. I think Ray Park was scheduled for 5:00, and Sam Witwer was scheduled for like 6:40 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's plenty of time. So we get into Ray Park's line at like 4:40. We deadass don't leave his line until after 7:00. And so I basically had to book ass over to Sam Witwer as soon as we got out. And he, of course, was at the other end of the fucking autograph hall. We had to book ass over there. They're turning the lights off in the convention center. And luckily, Sam was really cool. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to get to everybody in line. We were literally the last people in line. And he's like, don't worry, I'm going to get through everybody. Like, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. Sam was a really cool guy. You know, you could tell he's a big fan and stuff like that of all this stuff. He was a big fan of the Clone Wars. Talked about Clone Wars with him a little bit. Got him to sign my print, which was cool. He complimented my beautiful Darth Maul print that is now double signed by him and Ray Park. I made a comment to him. I was like, dude, like I was supposed to be here like an hour ago. I mean, you may be the voice of Darth Maul, but Ray Park is the true fucking voice of Darth Maul because that dude is chatty. He got a little laugh out of that because I swear to God, Ray Park, again, great guy. The best thing about Ray Park is also the worst thing about Ray Park. He will sit there and he will spend 5 to 10 minutes with every motherfucker in his line.
Yeah.
He's taking selfies. He's recording videos. He's like throwing footballs and exchanging phone numbers. I mean, nice guy, but he's like a little too nice, you know?
Yeah.
At a certain point, you got to move it along. Like that's that kind of convention etiquette with me. Like I can have a great experience, a great interaction with somebody in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I can go up to somebody, say hi, thank you so much, I'm a big fan, have a little interaction with them, maybe ask them a question, get your shit and move. Nobody else wanted to do that. Everybody was so keen to just waste these people's time. It was so frustrating. I fucked up my feet during the trip, but, you know, is what it is. Overall, had a good time. I'm telling you, I really, really, really want to arrange this PAX trip.
Yeah.
I really want to put that together.
I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of down for it.
I really want to get, because PAX South happens in January, so January 2020. I would love to get you down here and just spend a few days in San Antonio, hang out, eat some good food, go to PAX, which is a much more low-key convention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll literally see like a tenth of the people that were, that were there. The nice thing about PAX too is it's video game themed, so you can go up to PAX and play unreleased video games. Like Dan and I got to beat each other up on Street Fighter V like months before it came out, and that was cool.
God bless.
Anyway, that's a trip that I really do want to plan, because I really do think you would have a great time at PAX. I think that would be a really, really fun trip, and at that point, we could get the whole gang together, and Dan can come and everything, and meet us up in San Antonio. It'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be a real good time.
Anyway, Todd, we have effectively rambled on for over 2 hours now.
We're not done yet.
Oh God, what else?
I want to talk about the Galloping Ghost.
Oh shit! How could I forget about the Galloping Ghost? Yes, we're not done yet. You're very right. The Galloping Ghost Arcade. You want what? Tell everybody the deal with this.
This was shit. This was, like, honestly, I'm probably gonna go back to it for like myself. But yeah, the Galloping Ghost Arcade is this like thing in like Brookfield,
right,
Illinois, basically, and it's like, dude, they got like everything that you can fucking think of. Arcade games,
600
like
plus
old boxes,
600 plus arcade cabinets.
It's fucking insane.
That place went on and on and on.
Dude, it's like you'd go into you'd be going through, and all of a sudden you'd find another room, and it'd just keep on going. You're like, what the shit?
Yeah, you would just stumble into another room. You're like, oh, hey, there's 100 other arcade cabinets.
And like shit, $20 a person. All you can like shit.
$20 a person.
You can just,
all the machines are on free play. You could spend an entire day there if you wanted to.
Yeah, and you can like leave, come back, and like, if you have that receipt, from that day, you can still keep on playing.
Right. I'm telling you, I easily, next time I come up to Chicago, I could easily see us killing a day there.
Oh, dude, easily, because like we didn't go like too long because it was just kind of a.
I mean, we were still there for a good 4 hours.
Oh, we were still there for like 3.5, 4 hours, and it was just a good time. Like shit, me and Anastasia jumped on Rampage World Tour.
we were all playing it.
Like both
we were all playing it for a little while, but after we did like 4 or 5 levels. Like, I got good.
You jumped out, then me and Anastasia kept on going for a couple more levels, and it's just like, shit, how many levels are there?
Like 90 or something like that.
It's like some shit like that. We're like, ooh, and then it's like as we both just casually walk the fuck away. It's like, nope.
I was good after a few levels. I'm like, all right, my hand hurts.
Yeah, I also made it my mission to beat everyone's ass in Soul Calibur.
Oh, yes.
And I did.
Yes. It was just nice, like, kind of walking down the halls in the Galloping Ghost, kind of going between all the cabinets and just like, oh, shit, there's a Marble Madness cabinet, or, oh, hey, Todd, there's Dig Dug. You know what I mean?
Fucking pod race. They had the pod racing game.
Yes. Yeah, they had that
was cool.
That Star Wars pod racing, like where you actually can sit down and control the pod, and
fucked with me for like the first like 2 seconds, like the turning.
Yes, very cool.
But
we did that old school Star Wars like X-wing game.
Yeah,
that was cool. They had the actual authentic like root beer tapper.
Yep.
Centipede, millipede, anything you can think of.
Shit, they got like a 4-player Pong.
That was cool. We sucked at it, but it was cool.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. Like, dude, that was definitely a highlight of the trip because it was just like, that was just fun.
They had Tempest with the dials. They had clacks. It is the 90s and there is time for clacks. So.
Shit, we do. We played a good amount of the games. Like, we ran through and like just like anything that like caught our eye. Oh, I lost my shit when I saw, was it a Wipeout?
Yes. Yes.
Or,
what?
Oh, Hydro
Thunder. The similar. That's sort of like jet ski game.
Yeah, Hydro Thunder is my shit. And it's just like it was like I turned the corner and my eyes went right to it. I'm like, hello, beautiful.
There's something about being in an arcade.
Oh, dude, it was. I felt like a little kid.
Just
like,
being
it was
being
great.
in there with all the sights and the sounds and the, you hear the joysticks moving.
Like, honestly, the only thing that would make that place even better, alcohol.
Right. If they had alcohol or like a legitimate like food selection, you get like chips and shit like that. But
yeah, you get chips and like soda and shit like that. But like, if they had like actual like food, like and like alcohol. Oh my god!
But I do love.
I'd be there like once a month. I swear.
I do love the fact that you can pop out though, because I could definitely see us next time I come up. I could definitely see us going up there and just like popping out to get food, coming right back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I kept gravitating back toward to the tapper cabinet because they had the actual like nozzles from tapping. It was so cool. I loved seeing that. Yeah, some of my favorite games were in there.
It was cool. Like my dad was jumping on like all his old games he used to play and shit. Even my mom was like playing shit.
Yeah.
So
it was cool, man.
It's crazy.
It was cool little bit of nostalgia there, and I'm telling you, 600 plus arcade cabinets in one building. I mean, they got it all.
Oh, dude,
you name it, they probably have it.
I didn't even realize they had Dragon's Lair. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, it was actually funny because so we actually talked about this on Tea and Honey also when we were talking about Chicago, and Anastasia's like, "Oh, I only wish they had Dig Dug." I'm like, "They had Dig Dug. Todd played it.
I played Dig Dug."
So I pointed out to Todd, and he played it. She's like, "Oh fuck!" So it's one of those things when you're walking around, you almost miss stuff.
Oh, dude, there's so much shit that you easily miss it. It's because I didn't even realize they had Dragon's Lair until like you guys you brought it up and like you and my dad brought it up. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
they had Dragon's Lair 1 and 2 right next to each other. I played Dragon's Lair 1 a little bit, so it's really cool. It's Galloping Ghost is a really really cool place. That's definitely going to be we're definitely going to hit that back up next time I come up to Chicago. Anyway, can you think of anything else before we wrap up this
I think
overstuffed episode?
There's probably just like little bullshit, but honestly, I think this is a milestone in itself. I think this is our longest episode.
This is our longest episode officially. So
yeah.
If you guys have stuck with it, thank you for listening to this.
Us ramble on a. I think that's it though. I think there's probably like little bullshit we're missing. But,
I think we mostly covered it. I mean, there may be minor things, but I think for the most part, I mean, look, it was a great trip. We had a great time. Star Wars Celebration was good. Definitely hoping to arrange a PAX South meetup in January. So that if everything goes right and all the pieces fall into place, hopefully that's the next time we'll see each other in person.
Yeah.
So that would be very cool. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this overstuffed deep dish episode of Nerd Bourbon. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.